David Allen's Getting Things Done is more than a productivity method. It is a way of thinking about work and life that replaces stress with clarity and replaces overwhelm with calm, confident action. At its heart, GTD is built on a simple promise. When you capture everything that has your attention, clarify exactly what each thing means, organize the results into trusted lists, review them regularly, and then choose what to do. With a clear mind, you will not only get more done, but you will feel lighter more in control while you do it. This summary will walk you through the core ideas of the book in a practical and motivational way, so you can begin to build a system that serves your goals without burning you out. The first idea is to understand why our minds feel so overloaded. Allen calls every incomplete commitment an open loop. These are all the things you told yourself you should do, or might want to do, or cannot forget to do. They include projects at work, errands, at home, conversations to have, decisions to make, and even hopes and someday dreams. Your brain is good at recognizing open loops, but terrible at holding them. The mind keeps rehearsing them to prevent forgetting, and that unconscious rehearsal creates background stress. The antidote is to move open loops out of your head into a trusted external system. When you do this thoroughly, you will feel relief, because your brain stops trying to keep track of everything and can focus on the present task. GTD turns that insight into 5 concrete steps. Capture, clarify, organize, review, and engage. Capture means collect everything that has your attention into as few inboxes as possible. This can be a physical inbox, a digital inbox, a notes app, a voice memo, a pad of paper, or all of the above. The goal is not to sort or decide yet. The goal is to get it out of your head quickly and completely. Clarify means process each item and decide what it is. Is it actionable? If not, you either trash it, incubate it for possible future attention, or file it as reference. If it is actionable, then ask, what is the very next visible action? If the action will take 2 minutes or less, do it now. If it takes longer, delegate it to someone else, if appropriate, or defer it to be done later. Organize means park the results in the right places. Calendar for time-specific commitments, projects, list for outcomes that require more than one step, next actions, lists sorted by context, like a computer at office, at home, calls, and a waiting for list for things others owe you. Review means step back and look at the whole system at the right frequency, especially a weekly review that resets your focus. Engage means trust your system and choose what to do based on context, time, available energy, and priority. The 2-minute rule is a small but powerful principle. Many small tasks consume more energy if you keep looking at them. If you can finish something in 2 minutes or less, do it immediately during your clarify step. This prevents noise from accumulating in your lists and gives you quick wins that keep your space clear. For tasks that take longer, you defer them to your next actions lists. Those lists are the beating heart of daily work in GTD. They are not wish lists. They are concrete, visible actions that can be done in specific contexts. Instead of a list that says plan marketing campaign you will see Call Sam about Q3 budget draft outline for launch email and gather last quarter's conversion data. These are tasks you can do without further thinking. The project plan marketing campaign will live on your projects list as the desired outcome. The actions that move it forward live on the next actions lists where you can choose them at the right time. Contexts are crucial because you can only do some actions in certain places or with certain tools. If you are away from a computer, you cannot write code. If you are in a noisy airport lounge, you may not be ready for deep strategy work, but you can make several quick phone calls. Grouping actions by context lets you take advantage of your current situation. Traditional contexts include computer, phone, office, home, and errands. Today, people often add deep work, creative work, reading, and low energy. The point is to remove friction. When you have 10 minutes before a meeting, you open the calls list and make a call. When you have an hour of high energy, you open deep work or computer and pick one meaningful task. One of the greatest sources of stress is vague commitments. Clarifying the very next action dissolves vagueness. Alan gives the example of a broken printer. The sticky thought, "I need to fix the printer," is vague. The next action might be find the model number and search for a repair guide, or call repair shop to ask about service times. Defining that action removes resistance. The mind is brilliant at doing, but poor at deciding when the decision is unclear. Deciding up front makes doing easy. Projects deserve special care. In GTD, a project is anything that requires more than one step to finish and can be completed within a year. That definition creates a surprisingly long list. Each project needs at least one next action parked on your lists. During your weekly review, you scan your projects list and confirm that every project has an action moving it forward. Some projects also benefit from a project support folder where you keep notes, plans, and reference. The moment a project loses its next action, it stalls, and your mind starts spinning on it again. Your system must continually convert projects into clear next steps. The calendar in GTD is sacred. Only 3 things belong on it: time-specific actions, when you must be at a certain place or do a task at a certain time; day-specific actions, things that must happen on a certain day, but not at a specific hour; and day-specific information, such as key reminders that matter only on that day. Everything else goes on your lists. Protecting your calendar from clutter preserves its trustworthiness. If you put hopes and maybes on the calendar, you begin to ignore it, and your most important commitments may be missed. Another essential list is waiting for. Once you delegate something or hand off a request, you track it so it does not disappear. The list includes the item, what you are waiting for, and from whom. During your weekly review, you scan it and ping people where appropriate. This simple habit releases you from worrying about whether someone will forget. It also creates professional reliability because you always know the state of your commitments with others. GTD also recognizes that not everything deserves action now. The someday maybe list holds ideas you might want to pursue when time and resources allow. This list protects creativity while keeping your current commitments focused. During reviews, you may decide to activate some items into projects or simply enjoy the freedom of knowing your ideas are safe and available for a future season. The weekly review is the engine that keeps the system alive. Set aside quiet time once a week. Gather loose papers and notes. Empty all your inboxes to zero by clarifying everything. Review your calendar for the past and the upcoming weeks to catch follow-ups and preparations. Review your projects list to ensure each project has a next action. Review your waiting for list and someday maybe list. Review any checklists you maintain for recurring responsibilities. This practice renews trust in your system. Without it, lists grow stale and you stop looking. With it, you clear the deck, reset your priorities, and walk into the next week with a mind like water, as Alan describes it. That phrase means you respond appropriately to input rather than overreacting or underreacting. A pebble tossed into a calm pond creates ripples proportionate to the pebble. A boulder creates larger ripples, but the water always returns to calm. The weekly review restores that calm. Alan also introduces the natural planning model for projects. Humans naturally plan well when something matters. We start by defining purpose and principles. Why are we doing this, and what boundaries guide us? Then we envision the outcome. What does done look like? We brainstorm ideas without editing. We organize the ideas into components. Finally, we identify next actions. Many projects get stuck because they were never imagined to done and never translated into the first concrete move. Using the natural planning model brings clarity to everything from product launches to family vacations. Beyond day-to-day lists, GTD includes horizons of focus that align actions with the bigger picture. At the runway level, there are next actions. At the project's level, there are outcomes within a year. At the areas of focus level, you define ongoing responsibilities such as health, family, team leadership, finances, learning, and community. At the goals level, you set 1 to 2 year objectives. At the vision level, you articulate what success looks like in 3 to 5 years. At the purpose and values level, you define the reason you exist and the principles you live by. The higher levels provide guidance and meaning to the lower levels. The lower levels keep the higher levels honest by driving real behavior. If you feel busy yet unsatisfied, it often means your runway is full, but your horizons are unclear. Clarifying horizons gives your actions direction. A major theme in the book is to separate thinking from doing. Thinking through a task to define the next action is a different kind of work than cranking through tasks. When you try to decide in the moment, your energy drains and you procrastinate. GTD encourages you to set aside time for thinking and organizing so that when it is time to act, you can simply pick and execute. This is why the Clarify step and the weekly review are so powerful. They concentrate decision-making into focused sessions and free the rest of your week for action. Modern life introduces a constant stream of digital inputs. Email, chat messages, social notifications, documents and links can flood your attention. GTD remains relevant in this environment because the principle is timeless. You still capture, clarify, organize, review, and engage. You may implement it with email processing routines, rules that route messages to an action folder, or tools that let you turn messages into tasks. The method discourages living out of your inbox because the inbox is a mix of new inputs that still need decisions. Instead, you process email to zero by deciding the next action and parking it on the appropriate list or calendar. Allen emphasizes the value of reference systems. Not everything is actionable, but much is worth keeping because you may need it later. A simple, well-labeled digital reference system lets you file materials quickly and find them effortlessly. The secret is to reduce friction. If filing takes more than a few seconds, you will avoid it, and a pile will grow on your desk or your desktop. If it is easy, you will use it consistently. The sense of control that comes from clean reference and empty inboxes translates into confidence in your choices. Checklists are another quiet superpower in GTD. For recurring activities like travel prep, weekly team meetings, monthly reporting, or launching a product, you create a simple checklist that captures the steps. This is not to infantilize you, but to free your brain from having to remember routine details. Professionals in high-stakes industries rely on checklists because they know memory is unreliable under pressure. You should do the same for your personal and professional routines. Energy management is woven into the engage step. GTD does not tell you to do the hardest thing first at all times. It invites you to consider context, time, available energy, and priority. There are moments when your energy is high and you can tackle deep creative work. There are moments when you feel depleted, but you can still crank through administrative tasks. Intelligent self-management means matching tasks to the energy you actually have, not the energy you wish you had. Over time, this increases throughput and decreases guilt. A common challenge is getting started when you have a mountain of backlog. Allen recommends a mind sweep. Sit down and write everything that has your attention across your life. Personal and professional, large and small. Be exhaustive. Then process that list item by item into your system. Set up a few trusted inboxes and begin capturing new inputs immediately. Do not worry about setting the perfect tool from the start. The principles matter more than the app. A simple set of lists on paper or in a basic notes program can work beautifully if you use them. As you build the habit, you will face pitfalls. One pitfall is keeping lists too vague. Another is letting lists grow stale by skipping weekly reviews. Another is putting hopes on the calendar. Another is using only one giant next actions list instead of splitting by context. When your lists feel heavy, examine them for vagueness and staleness. Refresh them, delete things that no longer matter. Reclarify next actions. Recommit to a weekly review. The goal is not to have longer lists, but to have clearer ones. The method also strengthens leadership and teamwork. When you always know your next actions and what you are waiting for, you become reliable to others. Meetings become more effective When you arrive with a clear list of open loops for that project, delegation becomes cleaner when you define the desired outcome and the first milestone. Follow-up becomes respectful rather than annoying because you can reference what was agreed and when. Teams that share GTD language projects, next actions, waiting for, and weekly review often find collaboration smoother because everyone knows what to expect. GTD applies beyond work. At home, it helps you manage repairs, groceries, family events, finances, and personal goals. The same principles apply. Capture every open loop. Decide the next action. Park it on a home list. Use a family calendar. Create a household checklist for travel packing. Keep a someday maybe list for hobbies and trips you want to take. The calm you cultivate at home spills into your workday and vice versa. The book devotes attention to the psychology of stress. Much stress comes not from volume, but from broken agreements with ourselves. When we say we will do something and then we do not track it in a trusted way, our self-trust erodes. GTD restores self-trust by creating a system that earns your confidence. When you know everything you care about is captured and reviewed, you can renegotiate your commitments with yourself and with others openly. You can say not now with integrity because you know it will not be lost. That is the art of stress-free productivity. It is not the art of doing everything. It is the art of making smart choices with a clear mind. Alan also covers tools without being dogmatic. Use any tool that helps: paper planners, digital task managers, simple text files. The tool should make capturing easy and reviewing pleasant. Many people choose digital tools because of search tags and portability. Some prefer paper because of focus and tactile satisfaction. The key is trust. If you trust your lists, you will use them. If you use them, they will stay current. If they are current, you will trust them more. That positive loop is what you are building. It is helpful to imagine a day in the life with GTD. You arrive at your desk and capture new thoughts that occurred on your commute. You open your email and process it to 0. A few messages take 2 minutes and you handle them. Several become next actions on your computer list. One becomes an entry on your waiting for list because you asked a colleague for an update. You check your calendar and see 2 times specific commitments. You look at your context lists and pick a deep work task for your morning energy. After lunch, you have only 30 minutes before a call. You switch to calls and make 2 quick ones. Later, you feel tired. You open your low energy list and knock out simple tasks that still matter. At the end of the day, you capture loose ends and leave with a clear head. On Friday afternoon, you do your weekly review. You clear your inboxes. You review the past week and upcoming week on your calendar. You scan your projects and confirm next actions. You feel ready for the weekend. GTD also provides relief during crises. When everything hits at once, your mind will try to hold dozens of threads. If you capture them immediately and process them, you reduce panic. The calendar tells you the non-negotiables. The next actions lists give you a menu for the time and energy you do have. The waiting for list keeps follow-ups tight because you have a consistent way of working, you can handle spikes without breaking. Over time, you can layer sophistication. You can create checklists for roles and areas of focus to ensure you are tending each part of your life. You can create horizons reviews each quarter to stay aligned with larger goals. You can refine contexts to match your reality. You can experiment with time blocking for deep work while still using GTD to decide what to block. You can build templates for recurring projects so the first actions are always clear. You can add a someday, maybe sublist for things to read, watch, or learn so your curiosity has a home. One of the most empowering outcomes of GTD is the feeling of choice. When your world is in your head, you feel pushed around. When your world is on paper or in a system, you feel you have a steering wheel. You can look at a clean list and choose wisely. You can decide to ignore everything for an evening and be fully present with your family, because you trust nothing will be lost. You can decide to take a bold step on a big project because the smaller ones are captured and parked. The method also respects creativity. Many people fear that systems will stifle spontaneity. GTD does the opposite. By getting routine and stress out of your head, you create space for original thought. Brainstorming becomes easier when you are not haunted by forgotten tasks. Creative projects move faster when next actions are defined and obstacles are anticipated. Even serendipity increases because you notice opportunities when your mind is not cluttered. For people new to GTD, the first implementation can feel like a project in itself. Start small and win early. Set up a capture tool you love. Do one mind sweep and process it. Create a projects list and a few context-based next actions lists. Clean your calendar and commit to protecting it. Do your first weekly review within 7 days. Feel the relief and build from there. You will tune your system as you learn. The point is not perfection. The point is trust and momentum. There is also wisdom in keeping your workspace physically clear. Physical clutter represents delayed decisions. A clean desk supports a clear mind. A simple habit is to reset your workspace at the end of each day. Put reference where it belongs. Toss what you do not need. Place the few active materials for your next work block neatly in front of you. That small ritual builds a sense of control and greases the wheels for tomorrow. GTD invites you to treat commitments with respect. Every yes is a promise. Your system should be the place where promises live and get fulfilled or consciously renegotiated. When you cannot keep a promise because priorities changed, you renegotiate early with the person involved and with yourself. This builds a reputation for reliability and an internal reputation of self-trust. Stress falls when your word matches your action and your system supports that alignment. Allen ends with an encouraging truth. Your world will never stop changing. Inputs will keep coming. Projects will evolve. Tools will update. The goal is not to end change. The goal is to develop a way of working that stays stable while the world moves. Capture, clarify, organize, review, and engage. Do this across the seasons of your life, and you will maintain clarity and momentum. You will experience more of the mental state He calls mind like water. You will react appropriately to what comes toward you and then return to calm quickly. That is not only productive, it is a better way to live. To put this book into action today, you can begin with a simple sequence. Sit down with a blank page and write everything that has your attention. Process each item asking, is it actionable? And what is the next action? Create a list of projects and a handful of context-based next actions lists. Clean your calendar so it contains only real commitments. Start a waiting for list and a someday maybe list. Choose one next action you can do right now and do it. Schedule your first weekly review. As you repeat this loop, you will build a system that reflects you. Your days will feel lighter. Your decisions will feel cleaner. Your results will compound. Getting Things Done is ultimately a book about freedom. Freedom from the clutter that steals your focus. Freedom from the anxiety of not knowing what to do next. Freedom to be present with the people you love. Freedom to pursue meaningful goals without grinding yourself down. The framework is practical and the promise is profound. When you build a trusted system outside your head and maintain it with care, you give your best mind to your best work and your best life. That is the art of stress-free productivity, and it is available to you starting now.